let's talk library books, because last month was a bit obnoxious for me. I ended up with 43 books out from the library. That did include, I think that included audiobooks, which I had a few borrowed because of all the readathons I was doing in March, which were Middle Grade March and the Irish Readathon. This month, I took most of those back, and I now have a few more. Mainly, the current project is still reading some of the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. We'll see. The first one, which I've had out for a minute, is Night Bloom by Peace Adzo-Mehdi. This is one of the Women's Prize long list books. It features, which before we go into what the books are about, I think I mentioned in a recent haul video that I don't want to read too much of the synopsis on these books, because I'm finding that they're just putting too much information in the synopsis, and either they're putting too much information in it, or they're just very misleading. So I'm gonna kind of gloss over some of this because I don't want to know too much. Although for the Women's Prize books, I've tried to not watch reviews of the Women's Prize books until I read them. I'm not reading them very fast, so I think I'm like halfway through my fourth of the long list books. Today's April 7th, and I'm pretty sure that the short list for the Women's Prize for Fiction will be announced on April 24th. I'm getting it a little confused because I've also been paying attention to the Carol Shields Prize. The long list is currently out, and unfortunately, I've only read one. No, that's not true. I've read one recently. I've read a couple of the other ones previously, but that short list comes out April 9th, which is in a couple of days. So let's talk Women's Prize for Fiction long list that I have out. This book is about the unbreakable power of female friendship, two girls from Ghana. And really, that's all I want to know, honestly. I really enjoy female friendship stories. I'm always looking for good ones. I feel like we don't often get good female friendship stories. So looking forward to that. This one, Brotherless Knight, I still have out by Vivi Ganeshanathan. I hope I said that right. This is on both lists. This is on the Carol Shields Prize long list, and it's on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. This one is about a young woman who tries to protect her dream of becoming a doctor as civil war starts in Sri Lanka. So I'm interested in this. I haven't read a lot of books from Sri Lanka, and I think I try to read from different parts of the country and different parts of the world. and the country. So I'm hoping that I've read a little bit of this and really liked the flow of the first couple of pages. So I'm hoping to get to that one really, really soon. So then we have River East, River West by Abi Ray Lesher. This one is part coming of age, part family drama, family and social drama, as it follows two generations searching for belonging and opportunity in a rapidly changing world. Two timelines, Shanghai in 2007 and then Qingdao in 1985. A reversal of the East to West immigrant narrative set against China's political history and economic rise. It's an intimate family drama and a sharp social novel. So that, I also read the first couple of pages of this one and am really interested in that as well. This one is Enter Ghost by Isabella Hamad. This is on my April TBR because I pulled the prompt of reading from a small press, and this is published by Grove Atlantic. This is on another prize list. I can't remember which one. I can't remember if it's on the Carol Shields Prize. And it's based in Palestine, and so it definitely is very relevant today, and I think it takes on it's two sisters, one that's been away for a long time who returns, and she's an actress and gets involved with the local theater putting on a production of Hamlet. So it'll be interesting. I'm not a huge Shakespeare fan. Don't come for me. I know a lot of people love Shakespeare. I don't. He lots of great work. I think because I had to read so much of it and write so many papers on it in college that it just wasn't my favorite. I did enjoy Romeo and Juliet. That's probably as far as I was interested in anymore, which is interesting because this is on my April TBR, and so is Hamnet by Matthew Farrell. So we'll see how I do with both of those. And then we have Western Lane by Chechna Maru. This was on the International Booker last year, I think. And then it's on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. This year, it's about a father with two daughters grieving the loss of the mother, and I think it's squash comes into play. One of them gets very into squash. I've already read, like I said, several and taken them back to the library. You're making this difficult, Hopper. Trust me, I tried to put him down several times. All right, so the other books that I have, one is by the new one by Tracy Garvis Graves, The Trail of Lost Hearts. Very interested in this one. I've read 2 books from Tracy Garvis Graves that I really enjoyed. I read The Girl He Used to Know and Heard It in a Love Song, and I really enjoyed them. So I'm excited for this one. Basically, it's 2 lost souls find the courage to love again, and I think this is probably as close to as I get to. I don't know. I'm trying my romance. I'm not ever really like a big romance reader, but you know, if there's romance in it, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not against romance books. I've got one here that I don't think I'm gonna get to, but because it's due back in a couple of days and I haven't started it yet. But anyway, I do really enjoy Tracy Garvis Graves, and she's one that I would definitely, for instance, when that came out, I put it on my holds list. I have a couple of books from I was watching Denise at Little Rosa Reads did the review on the NAACP Image Award book nominees, and a couple that she talked about. I had read 2 of them, and then a couple that she mentioned were interesting to me. So the one by Lola Kinmade Ackerstrom. This is not the one that was nominated. This is the first in the series. The second one, which of course just totally went out of my head. I was thinking about it. I'll put it down below, the one that was actually nominated, but this is the first one. In Every Mirror She's Black. I just really enjoyed Denise's review of the second in this series, so I want to read. I get distracted by the synopses, but I am not going to read more about this because I just want to go into this one blind. And then the other one that I've heard about a lot, and then it was Denise did a great review of it. I've heard other reviews of this as well. The House of Eve by Sadiqa Johnson. This is the author that wrote Yellow Wife, which I haven't read yet. 1950s Philadelphia. It's a redemptive, daring, beautiful novel that explores what it means to be a woman and a mother and how much one is willing to sacrifice to achieve her greatest goal. I've heard Sadiqa Johnson is a beautiful writer who writes very hard books, like devastating books. And sometimes I do like hard books. I'm not always drawn to them just because of the emotion in it, but I do want to read this one. We'll see if I can get to this because there's so many books, so little time. The other one, so I also have, this was the group read for the Irish Readathon that I did not get to. It's The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. I have read Caroline O'Donoghue's book, Promising Young Woman, and I really enjoyed her writing. I may not get to this now that I've missed reading it for Irish Readathon. I will eventually read this because I do enjoy her writing. One book from the Carol Shields prize list that I would like to read is Between Two Moons by Aisha Abdel Dawad. This is about a deeply moving family story about identity, faith, and belonging set in the Arab immigrant enclave of Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, following 3 siblings coming of age over the course of one Ramadan. It just really sounded interesting. Again, sisters there's twin sisters in the family, and they're gonna graduate high school, and their older brother comes back from prison. So it sounds really, really interesting. The one romance I had out that I thought I would get to, The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, I had asked on a video, I think it was Brittany's video about romance books, that what was a recommendation on a book, on a author that writes similar to Talia Hibbert, but maybe a little bit more closed door, spicy scenes. So I was recommended Sarah Adams, and I'm pretty positive that Christette Books and Jams also like Sarah Adams. This one I liked just the friend zone is not the end zone. So it's a NFL player and his best friend. And he sees her as a best friend and no romantic potential. Goes from there. This one has, other people have requested it, so I don't know that I'm going to get to it this time, but I can absolutely get it again. This one. So I don't, does this happen to you, that when I'm searching for a book and then other things come up too, and then I start reading about those, it's kind of like the library rabbit hole that you go on. This is Barbara Isn't Dying by Alina Bronsky. Walter Schmidt has lived his whole life within the narrow, comfortable confines of traditional gender roles. He has made it to retirement without learning how to fry an egg or use a vacuum cleaner, and he has lived at an emotional distance from his now grown children, letting his wife Barbara tend to their needs. He's always been able to count on Barbara for everything, but when she can't get up from bed one morning, everything changes. So it's kind of that idea of the role reversal. And he has to become a caregiver, which I was a caregiver to my mom, and it really sounded right up my alley. So a couple holdovers from middle grade March that I wanted to try and get to. Ida in the Middle by Nora Lester Murad. This is based in Palestine, and when violence happens in the Middle East, Ida knows what's coming next. Her classmates treat her like it's all her fault just for being Palestinian. In 8th grade, Ida is forced to move to a different school, but people still treat her like she'll never fit in. Ida wishes she could disappear. So that's really... So this one wasn't a holdover from middle grade March. It was recommended in middle grade March during the month, and so I got this one out. Two Degrees by Alan Gratz. I haven't read any Alan Gratz, but I've heard a lot of great things about him, and this is about the climate crisis. And then the last one I got out just the other day is Moon of the Turning Leaves by Mabu Gashing Rice. This is the author of Moon of the Crested Snow, which I haven't read, but I've heard a lot about. I was interested in this writer and was excited when I saw that they had a standalone that I could try. So this is mainly to try this author and Yeah, that's a lot of library books. How many is that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 16. It's 16, but it's not how many I had out last month, right? I am, like I said, gonna try and get to the women's prize for fiction long list books for sure. And then kind of weave some of these other ones in with my April TBR. And, you know, whatever I don't read, I can always check out again, right? I wanted to add that this week is National Library Week, where we appreciate our library. Y'all know, if you've watched my channel at all, I love my library. I go at least probably once a week. And I was there yesterday because I had a couple of holds that came in that are newer books, and they have no renewals on them. So I'm hoping I get to read them, but as you've seen already in this video, I have a lot of library books out. So this one is What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. This is the second in, I don't know if this is going to be a series, a duology. The first one was this is What Feasts at Night. What Moves the Dead was the first one, which honestly I was really creeped out by. And like bodily stuff, I sort of shy away from just because some of it's gross. But I was curious enough to see what happened next to at least put my name in on this, and it came. So we'll see if I get to it. The other one that came in is Come and Get It by Kylie Reed. I read Kylie Reed's first book, Such a Fun Age, and at the time I rated it 3 stars, and that was a number of years ago. I'd have to look back and see if I had left any notes of why I only rated it 3 stars. But I haven't, like, that whole story of Such a Fun Age hasn't left my mind since I read the book. And so it got me interested in this this new one by Kylie Reed. So it's a little bit thicker, I feel like, than Such a Fun Age. And, you know, I have all these library books out. And this one also doesn't have any renewals, so we'll see if I get to it or if I end up returning it and then requesting it again. Who knows? Who knows? Thank you for watching my library haul. Have you read any of these books? Do any of them sound good to you? Do you have recommendations for me of which ones I should prioritize? Do you go to your library? I know not everyone has access to a library. I'm very fortunate that I have access to multiple libraries through my work and can pretty much get anything I'm looking for. Well, unless it's not published in the US, obviously, which had been the case with some of the long-listed books on prize lists. So with that being said, I've got some reading to you. I will see you next time. Bye. Can you say bye? Hopper. Hopper. Can you say bye? That was perfect.